soul contract removal to free the divine feminine. I call to all spiritual contracts that exist within my past, present, and future beings, selves, and existence in this dimension and time stream, and all time streams above and below the earth-centric sine wave of coexistence. At this exact moment, in the ever-present co-creating moment, I summon all DNA lineage ancestors to create a unified, proper, spiritual court of equity, so I may find remedy and resolve with all contracts that have inserted fine print during the pre-birth and birth process. I call forth the proper spiritual court of equity to hear my decree of contract removal. I revoke all spiritual contracts with earth-based religions, cultures, belief systems, and industries that dominate and control the divine feminine power in our world and create an energetic imbalance that affects every man, woman, and child on the planet. I call forth all ancestors of all soul relations to hold space in this spiritual court of equity. I call to Earth Mother and all her light denizens within all inner and outer space to come forward and occupy the spiritual court of equity. O great mystery, who is the source of all power, I call to you. Come with your sacred synchronicity so all beings may hold space with unity consciousness. I hereby revoke contracts of all religions and cultural belief systems that place the feminine in a dominated position of inequality. These include the projections of unequal pay, the inability for a woman to earn a living, own land or business, or receive an education of her choosing. I do not consent to the feminist movement that was created and funded by the CIA to separate a woman from her divine feminine power, foster hatred for men, and create separation and division in the soul family unit. I hereby revoke all cultural belief systems that create the expectation of a woman's duty to hold an unrealistic burden alone and suffer in silence. I do not consent to all social policing systems that have been put in place to make a woman feel like she is too sensitive, too emotional, or out of control in the attempt at gaslighting a woman's soul to make her feel like she's unstable or insignificant. I hereby revoke all contracts of cultural belief systems where female children are murdered at birth, sexually mutilated as a supposed rite of passage, sold off in a billion-dollar child pornography industry, or trafficked as sex slaves. I do not consent to the porn industry that has been the breeding ground for sexual perversion, spiritual contracts, and the exploitation, degradation, victimization, and bastardization of the divine feminine power. I hereby revoke the following spiritual sexual perversion contracts that are targeted at separating a woman from her divine feminine power. All group sex and polyamorous programs that are all a perversion of divine sexuality aimed at making a woman feel that somehow she is not enough. All double standards and cultural belief systems where recreational sexual promiscuity, multiple wives, harems, and mistresses are allowed and celebrated for a man, but cause social ruin for a woman. All programs that create projections that men put on women while masturbating, as well as perverted fantasies that are used as a barrier between the heart space of a man and a woman in a sacred sexual bond. I do not consent to these spiritual sexual perversion contracts. You have no power over me. I hereby declare that Earth Mother is in dominion with me, as well as my soul family and my ancestors. I declare that I am now clean from these projections of sexual perversion, and I return to the source of innocence as the divine feminine sovereign being. I hereby revoke all contracts and concepts created in innocence or blissfully ignorant states of being. I hereby declare a new form of spiritual and physical cleanliness. I revoke all previous self-created concepts of cleanliness and any perverted attachments to myself. This new invocation of cleanliness removes all previous concepts of sacred sexuality, sensuality, recreational sex. I bring them all back to the 0 point of the fetus in the mother's womb. I reconnect all my DNA strands to that of the heartbeat of Earth. The sacred feminine is connected to her heart and her sacred feminine space and does not deny her menstrual cycle. She accepts it as a time of introspection, retrospection, and reflection. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the entertainment and advertising industry that has created programs of self-hatred, low self-esteem, self-medication, self-mutilation, eating disorders, etc. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the medical industry that have damaged a woman's health and ability to reproduce according to the natural laws of Earth Mother. Birth control drugs and other chemicals in our food and water and air that cause sterility or oversexuality, as well as clothing that is damaging to a woman's health, such as bras, heels, corsets, bound feet, and tampons. I revoke all birthing contracts created through C-sections, pregnancy drugs, prenatal, x-rays, vaccinations, incubations, children who are not put on the mother's heart after birth, removal of the placenta and cutting of the umbilical cord, which can stay intact for up to 4 days to allow the child's heart bond with the mother and father. I revoke all contracts that force a woman to carry and birth a soul that is not of their co-creative divine choice with their sacred selected or bonded masculine. This includes rape victims, teenage pregnancies, and forced or arranged marriages. I return to the Earth Mother, the natural incarnation grid. I now permanently delete the reincarnation grid from my soul existence. I do not consent to all programs aimed at making a woman feel too fat, too thin, too old, too young, too black, too white, too ethnic, too rich, too poor, or any projection at all that makes a woman feel that somehow she is not good enough. I hereby declare that I am more than good enough. I am infinite consciousness. I am God, Goddess incarnate. I am a sovereign being, and I hereby reclaim my divine feminine power in the spiritual court of equity. I call forth all the ancestors to honor this reading of my free will and enter into the Earth Akashic record for all sentient kind to understand our freedom comes with the use of free will at all times. I am free, I am one, I am source, I am one with source, I am free, I am one, I am free, I am one with source. And so it is, so be it, Akashic Records.